Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Camper Report. We're talking about Eagles versus 49ers today, the game that is set to play at 4:25 Eastern Time this next Sunday. I'm jetting off to Australia actually tomorrow. So that's going to be early morning Monday for me, but I'll still be watching the game. Let's get into this game a little bit. The title of this video is why the 49ers will beat the Eagles after I watch the Eagles play versus the Bills. In my opinion, right? The Eagles, I originally picked the Eagles to win 23-20 because I think the Eagles were going to play the 49ers very well and they were going to match up very well because the Eagles have a really good quarterback in Jalen Hurts who can throw the deep ball. But it's looking more and more evident, especially on that last game on Sunday where it was pouring down rain. If you guys watch the Eagles versus Bills game, it was pouring down rain, especially on that game on Sunday. It was pouring rain, and it's looking more and more evident. I've been reading the weather report every single day for the 49ers versus the Eagles game. It's looking more evident that this game is going to be played in the rain. Obviously, as you guys know, it's in Philadelphia. There's going to be a huge crowd there. It's the biggest game of the year between these two teams. I honestly think that these two teams are best in the NFL, and then it's a huge step down to the next team, which I believe is the Chiefs. But let's get to kind of breaking down. So what I saw versus the Eagles versus Bills, and real quick before I get to this matchup, guys, if you guys want to start streaming videos like this, making football content or any really type of sports content or content in general and going live like this or making pre-recorded videos like this, go to StreamYard. Super easy for beginner streamers that want to start streaming to the respected platforms such as YouTube. It's really easy to use if you're just a beginner. It's also free. But if you guys do sign up with my link down below, you got $10 off of your first purchase. So that could help you guys if you want to do a basic plan, which is $20. $10 off of that will be $10 off your first purchase. So the first month would be $10 instead of $20 for the basic plan. So sign up with my link, get $10 off. That is down below. Back to the video. Eagles versus Bills. What I saw with that. First drive, played the Eagles, their first drive, played off of the shotgun play action, or I don't know what it's called, but basically what Jalen Hurts was doing was the Bills were kind of expecting the run from the Eagles early on. So they'd line Jalen Hurts up in the shotgun and they'd hand it off to Boston. Well, it wasn't Boston Scott. It was the other guy the other running back, number 14. And then also as well, DeAndre Swift. So basically they line up the running back right next to Jalen Hurts in the shotgun, and they do a fake run to Jalen Hurts, and then Jalen Hurts would pull it back, throw a quick slant, or they do a run to the running back. And the Bills really didn't know on that first drive, didn't know what to expect because the Eagles were mixing up the run and playing a balanced style of offense, run and pass through the shotgun play. And that's really when the Eagles are at their best, is when they're balanced, when teams don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to pull it and run, if he's going to pull it and throw, or if he's going to just give it to the running back. And that's really what got them that first TD on that first drive. Jalen Hurts' first interception. Now, I think a big reason why the Eagles have had so many game-winning drives, and this is why I think for Eagles, a lot of people want to make the argument, Brock Purdy hasn't led enough game-winning drives. Well, my big argument to this is the reason why Jalen Hurts has led so many game-winning drives is because he's put them in that position by throwing interceptions to where they have to come down. I look at this Bills game, he didn't, his first interception wasn't necessarily his fault. The running back on the right side, obviously Lane Johnson was not playing in this game. The running back on the right side did not get to his assignment. He was supposed to block the defensive end, which I believe was Von Miller. He was supposed to chip him, and he didn't do that. The running back kind of got lost on that play in the blocking assignment, and Von Miller or whoever the defensive end was for the Bills just ran free to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had to throw it off of his back foot through a very rushed pass. It got tipped off. I believe the tight ends in the check down, he checked it down to the tight end. It tipped off his hands, went way into the air, and the Bills guy picked it off. So that it wasn't necessarily Jalen Hurts' fault. But I will say that sometimes in the last few games, the reason why the Eagles have had to come down and come from, being behind and come back, and Jalen Hurts has to play this hero ball, is because he kind of puts them in that position in the first place by throwing interceptions. I didn't necessarily see that in the Bills game, now that I look back at it. Another reason, so that's kind of like, I would say the narrative about Jalen Hurts, how he's led so many game-winning drives, he's a polished quarterback, is somewhat true and somewhat fake. I think in this game, yes, he led game-winning drives. The interception that he threw wasn't necessarily his fault, but at the same time, he also can put the Eagles sometimes in games where he can put them in a tough spot because he does throw that interception to get them into that hole. Now, so that's kind of my thought on Jalen Hurts. I don't know if you guys understand that, but that's kind of my thought on Jalen Hurts. Once in a while, he'll put him into that hole and put him down because of the interception. But once in a while, it's not necessarily his fault. How to beat the Eagles defense if you are the 49ers. Josh Allen. He's able to negate pressure. He was able to negate pressure, scramble out, throw it. The Eagles defense is 19th in the league with points allowed, right? So they're not good. Like their defense isn't necessarily stopping anyone. The way Josh Allen beat the Eagles, their cornerbacks are actually pretty good at covering if the defensive line gets home. But as soon as a quarterback scrambles out of the pocket, extends it a little bit, they start to break coverage a little bit, the Eagles cornerbacks, which is very much like the 49ers cornerbacks in a way. So the way to beat this team is to have a mobile quarterback who can scramble out of the pocket and make plays with his legs and arm, which I think Brock Purdy can do a little bit of that. The other thing to beat the Eagles defense, which I think the Bills do not have, and why the 49ers will have a leg up on what the Bills were doing, was the Bills don't really necessarily run the ball. The 49ers are going to be able to pound the rock with Christian McCaffrey, with Deebo Samuel in this game. So I think that's going to be really important, is not only giving Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy's going to be able to scramble out and beat him a little bit that way, but also running the ball more than the Bills did, I think can control the game a lot more than the Bills did. I also think if you're going to put Brock Purdy under center, you have to be doing a bootleg. You cannot do play actions with him. That's what got him injured last year. That's what's going to injure him this year. You either do a bootleg under center or just have him in the shotgun all the time. Another thing, how to fix. I'm going to actually flip over to the Eagles' offensive side of the ball. How to fix the offensive woes for Philadelphia, because we saw last game, after that first drive, in the first half, they kind of got into a little bit of a lull on offense, which we've seen the 49ers do as well. How to fix the Philly woes, the Philly offensive woes, is to mix up the formations. If you're the Eagles, you need to mix up your formations and your game planning and just the way you call your plays. Because a lot of times what I see is Jalen Hurts is in the shotgun. There's no pre-snap motion. And there's just not a lot going on before the ball is snapped. The reason why the 49ers offense is so good is because there's pre-snap motion. There's things going on before the snap that confuses the defense a little bit, confuses the linebackers. I don't see that when the Eagles are, struggling on offense. You see almost predictability. You see when the Eagles are going to pass and when they're going to run. There's no pre-snap motion. It's really just it's just saying, Jalen, you're going to sit in the shotgun and we're going to play hero ball with you and you're going to have to make plays. That's how it is. And that's just not the way you do it. So they tend to rely a little bit too much on Jalen Hurts. Mix up the formations, do pre-snap motions, do an end around, do, just things that will confuse the defense a little bit. And the Eagles obviously need to play off of the run game, because that first drive against the Bills, the reason why they were so good was because they were running the ball, but they were also confusing it to where they were either going to run the ball or they were going to pull it and run it with Jalen Hurts. So mix in the run game a little bit more. Make the defense think, okay, is he going to pass it or are they going to run it? That's how they were so successful in that first drive against the Bills. It's just mixing in the run game to where it makes the defense think a little bit instead of saying, oh, this is automatically a Jalen Hurts pass. Another thing that's going to be key in this game, Lane Johnson needs to be playing for the Eagles. He really does. The right side was not the same. So that's going to be a huge thing to monitor as we get closer to this game on Sunday. Another thing, like I said, Eagles can't play hero ball with Jalen Hurts, but let's get into kind of the rain aspect of the game I wrote down in my notes. If it is raining, now, we all want to go back to, with the Niners, how they struggled against the Browns defense in the rain. First thing, the Browns defense is the best in the league. No questions asked. It's the best in the league. But if you're looking at history, right, the 49ers in important moments have been able to play really well in the cold. I look at Lambeau Field a few years ago in 2020, I believe it was, against the Green Bay Packers, when they were able to win 13-10 in the cold, in the snow, by handing it off to Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell. That's how I think when the 49ers, if it is raining as bad as it was last week, it plays a little bit more in this game. If it is raining as bad as it was last week, it plays a little bit more into what the 49ers want to do. Because I think when healthy, the 49ers are better suited for the rain than the Eagles are. And the reason why I say this is because the 49ers have guys who can take the ball and just run with it, who better yak guys is what I'm trying to say. They have Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. The Eagles don't have as dominant yak guys as the 49ers do. And so, because they have talented wide receivers and running backs, but those wide receivers rely on Jalen Hurts to get them the ball. With the 49ers, you can just throw a screen to Deebo Samuel and he'll take it 20 yards. So I think the 49ers, in the grand scheme of things, when healthy, are better at playing with the rain and playing that physical type of football that I don't think the Eagles' offense is. So that's kind of my thing. They have better skill position guys that can play with the rain, that can do yards after catch. And so if it is raining, a big part of why the Eagles are so good usually on offense is because Jalen Hurts' deep ball is so good. But if it's raining, then it's going to negate that. And it's going to have to force the Eagles to play a lot more smash mouth and run the ball consistently and do a lot more slants. And that plays directly into what Brock Purdy does best, right? Brock Purdy at his best is throwing short passes, slants, screens to Deebo Samuel, running it to Christian McCaffrey, end arounds to Deebo Samuel. If it is raining, this plays into Brock Purdy's strengths. It doesn't necessarily, Jalen Hurts can do that style of football, but really it negates Jalen Hurts' strength, which is throwing deep down the field. So without further ado, go back, actually, shout out to Bay Area Baller. Go back and watch the video I did with him, the live I did with him on Saturday. In that video, I said the Eagles were going to win 23-20 because I did not trust the 49ers, the Eagles' deep ball. I did not trust the 49ers cornerbacks to cover the Eagles receivers deep. But if it is raining and a deep ball isn't really a thing that the Eagles can use, I think the 49ers can play that style of defense where the 49ers are good at hitting the Eagles at the line of scrimmage. Where the 49ers become weak is the deep ball. Their cornerbacks are going to start flagging or holding the receivers on the deep ball. And if it is raining, again, like I said, it negates that. So I think the 49ers, I'm going to change my prediction. I think the 49ers are going to win this one in a close one. It's going to be very smash mouth, tight football game. I don't think the 49ers are winning this one by double digits. I think the 49ers will get this one done 24-23. It's going to be a close one. I think that there's going to be a few big plays on the Eagles that's going to kind of keep them in the game. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it's the Eagles are going to have to run the ball more consistently that they have and really lean off of the run game. And I think whoever runs the ball better in this game and schemes their guys open better in this game is going to win that. And I think that is the 49ers. No questions asked. 49ers win it 24-23. Have a good rest of your night, everyone. This actually video will probably go out tomorrow morning, but I'm videoing this at night. Drop your 49ers versus Eagles predictions in the description. And we'll see you guys maybe later on this week with another video. Not in the description, in the comments. Drop your score prediction in the comments. We'll see you guys later on this week. Have a good one.